densely wooded area. And we wanted to avoid impact to the tree roots. So the strategy involved was not to cut into the soil, because we would for sure be eliminating roots that are important to the survival and health of these trees. Instead, we used a technique called root bridging. Now, this area had been used by pedestrian and foot traffic for years. So the soil was pretty heavily compacted. We didn't want to compact any further, and we didn't have to build a stable surface. First step was to lay down some 12-foot wide sheets of textile fabric, geotextile fabric, to stabilize the base. On top of that, we added a layer of stone subbase, which is porous. Water can pass through it. And then on top of that, we added the concrete that you see as the surface. The strategy again was to bridge over the roots. As you can see, these two trees right in front of us would have been heavily impacted if that process had gone on in a conventional fashion. Instead, we were able to more or less build the trail without the trees really knowing that it happened. Okay, this is an area where we really massaged these grades to accommodate the root system of this old mature maple tree. The roots of this tree have been here for, I'm going to say, 60, 70 years. They've kind of adapted themselves to this environment. So the way this walk goes up and then comes back down is purposely built that way to avoid cutting any roots. We used the porous subbase material. We put the concrete on top of that. Didn't damage the tree at all. And you can see on the far side where we had to match the elevation of the path to this old existing bridge, we didn't put anything. We just used a crusher run material that was porous, that didn't impact the tree roots at all, and we bridged that so that people can get across there no problem. We worked with what was existing in nature. So this is what I've been told the largest ash tree in the city of Atlanta. Must be close to 4 feet in diameter. It's got to be close to 130, 140 feet tall. This is a treasure. And we had some difficult challenges to kind of squeeze the trail between the root system of the ash tree and the edge of the stream bank. But again, we were able to massage it in, work with the root system, avoid any impact, and with the addition of soil amendments, I think the tree looks better than it did before the trail was even built. We're seeing better leaf color, better leaf growth. So, great champion tree. Okay, so this is the playground section, and I wanted to talk about it because it's an interesting collateral benefit, in a way, of root bridging. We really weren't that concerned with tree impact. The trees were going to be fine with the path going through here, but the path was built during a period when there were tremendous rains. So this area was essentially flooded for the duration of construction. But because of the root bridging technique and the fact that grading wasn't required, this section was built on top of fabric with porous subbase, which allowed the rock, the stone to breathe, the base of the path to breathe, and essentially the concrete was just placed on top of that. So we bridged this area with an added benefit of being able to build during a time of weather when it would have been prohibited. So I just want to say that from a personal standpoint, my great hope is that through the experience of constructing this trail in an environmentally sensitive way to save trees, the practice of arboriculture, of uniting common sense solutions with the construction procedures, becomes more of a future way of building, and building in a sensitive way. We had great success here, but there were some challenges. We weren't just dealing with reducing the impact to trees, which we did through root bridging, soil therapy, hand digging, things like that we talked about in the video. But there was more. We had to approach it from a perspective of field adjustments only. We weren't going back to the drawing board to redesign everything. We had to make it cost neutral, so there were no extra costs added to the project. And then we had to unite the interests of a variety of different groups of people. And we were able to do that because I found some common ground here. And it was that there are practical arboricultural solutions that fit into the systems that are already in place in the construction world. And my great passion and my great hope is that what we've learned here in the success of this project can be seen as a template for how to go forward and do things like this and have the natural world protected while we're still being able to have a path to roll strollers on and be able to connect ourselves to the natural